Hello! How are we all doing? I'm going to go ahead and, there we go, mute that. Let me know if you can't hear me. I took the training wheels off and I'm doing this live chat thing without any technical assistance. So I'm seeing that we have questions coming in already. This is great. Again, let me know if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? So I'm Bryan, the Director of Skincare Research at Paula's Choice Skincare, which is based in good old Seattle, Washington. I am living and working remotely in Michigan. Get to go back to Seattle every now and then to see the old crowd and all the new faces. We're growing at Paula's Choice, growing like a weed, but a good weed. So there's always new faces to see. Everyone can hear me. Great. Okay. So for today's topic, and I know I dress really casually for these things. I hope you don't mind, and I hope that it doesn't reflect on any lack of professionalism on my part. But when you work from home, you kind of, I mean, you guys are lucky I'm not in my pajamas and that my cowlicks aren't going every which way. I do shower and, do my skincare routine just for you. And of course, I have sunscreen on because I'm getting bombarded by UV rays from my windows. Even though it's still cold here and in the 20s, it's actually a sunny day. It's actually really pretty. Anyway, interesting aside about sun exposure. So I read something, I think it was in The Week magazine, which is a very cool publication that I subscribe to. The incidence of nearsightedness in children has skyrocketed like in the last 10-15 years. And one of the reasons that they suspect that's the case is because kids are spending so much more time staring at screens, like we're all doing now, than they used to. And apparently, even though sun exposure isn't necessarily healthy for eyes, getting a certain amount of UV exposure to bright natural light as a child's eyes are developing is critical to the final shape of their eye. Having grown up being farsighted and having astigmatism, I know all too well what it's like to have to deal with glasses as a kid and how awkward and sometimes uncomfortable that can be, and thank goodness for LASIK, although I need reading glasses now. All right, so topic today, I'll start answering these questions that are coming in just a sec, but one of the things I wanted to ask all of you to keep in mind is I was thinking that today's questions could be a bit more in the troubleshooting vein, in terms of where are you stuck in your routine, what was something that you thought would work for you, but it hasn't worked, and you're not quite sure why. Maybe I can help you out with that. But what I would also love to hear is any success stories that we could pass on to the group here and to people who will be watching after the live broadcast of what really worked in your skincare routine, a challenge perhaps that you overcame. So noodle on that, as they say. Let's start with Kristen's question. She says, "Hi Bryan, I'm using the 1% retinol. Should I be wary of using other products such as moisturizers and serums that also contain retinol?" It's a tolerance question, or a tolerance answer, Kristen. Just as an example, when I use our 1% retinol formulas, and I pretty much just stick with the booster because I find the clinical 1% retinol treatment a little bit too rich for my skin type, which is more normal to oily. So I love our 1% retinol booster, and when I use that, I don't apply other products that contain retinol. That being said, there are a lot of people that do, and all of our other products with retinol don't contain that same amount. And that's because there's a range of retinol that can be effective for skin. And personally, I think going back and forth between those products gives you the best of both worlds. For example, I don't use our retinol booster every single night. I might use it 2 or 3 nights a week, but on those other nights, if I'm not using something that I consider more potent for my skin, I will use either our Resist Intensive Wrinkle Repair Retinol Serum. I will use the clinical, I'm trying to think of my latest product assortment, the clinical enriched skin firming moisturizer, which has the retinol, the ceramides, and 4 or 5 forms, maybe 3. Maybe it's 3 of vitamin C. So many ingredients. Anyway, experiment to see what works for you. And remember my golden rule, you never want to tip the scales in favor of irritation. So if you start seeing any sort of a kickback from doubling up on retinol, pull back and use the retinol products separately. It's perfectly fine to use a moisturizer with retinol, for example, under your sunscreen during the day, or if your foundation contains sunscreen and you're applying it liberally and evenly to your entire face, that's fine too. Alex says, I would like to know whether a serum would lose its effectiveness if I mix it in the bottle of my body moisturizer. I was thinking of niacinamide specifically. That's an interesting question. So it's an unknown, Alex, because with 2 different formulas being mixed together in a larger bottle where you're going to keep them around for a while. So this is obviously different than like squeezing out a little bit of moisturizer or pumping some out and then adding a few drops of a booster or a serum per application. So when you mix those 2 formulas together, you don't know what the compatibility and the stability is going to be like long term. So for our skincare products, and for any reputable brand, you do what's called pre-market compatibility testing, meaning how is it compatible with the component it's in? Here's this formula that's in a glass bottle. How's it going to work? That's a liquid bandage type product that I love, by the way. It's called New Skin, and I get these awful, painful splits on my fingertips when the weather is cold and dry, and that is a lifesaver. So you have to have bandages on your fingers all the time, traditional bandages. So I really wouldn't recommend it, Alex. I think it's a bit tricky. You can give it a try with a smaller amount of product. Like maybe you wait until, let's say you have a big bottle of body moisturizer, maybe you wait until you've got about a quarter of it left and then put in the product you're thinking of, mix it up and see how it goes. But I don't know if I wouldn't do that with a fresh bottle and hope for the best. It's just a little bit too iffy. Angie says, hi, Brian. I get good visible results from BHA and lactic acid, which is an AHA. However, I almost always get a sensitizing reaction, sore and sometimes bumpy, a day or 2 afterwards. Should I stop exfoliating? I'm going to assume, Angie, that you are applying that concoction every day, maybe even twice a day. And so what you might want to try, my first suggestion would be to apply that concoction less often. So drop down to once daily, maybe at night, or if you're only applying it once daily now, try applying that mix every other night. If you've been exfoliating with leave-on products for a while, and unless you have really clog-prone or stubbornly skin or a lot of breakouts, you can experiment with the frequency of application. Once your skin is acclimated to that exfoliation, if you skip a night or 2, it's not the end of the world. Uh-oh. Oh, looks like we're still going. There was a little glitch, you guys. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry about that, you guys. Not quite sure why that happened. I'm not the most tech-minded person you will ever meet, far from it. Yeah, I'm buffering. Hopefully the buffering will stop. Okay. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. All right, let me scroll back up. So yeah, Angie, I don't think you need to stop exfoliating. I think it's a matter of you needing to exfoliate less often. You could also consider separating use of those products and not apply the AHA and BHA at the same time, which might mean putting on the AHA in the morning and the BHA at night, or vice versa. Catalina says, hi, Brian. We use and love Paula's Choice products, but other fad products, Korean Hanacure, can you give us your insight on this product? Does Paula have anything similar or better? Cat in Michigan. Oh, another Michiganite. I'm not familiar with the Korean Hanacure product. Let me look it up real quick. All-in-one facial starter. Multi-action facial perfected. Okay, so this looks like it's some sort of a brush-on peel, is what I'm thinking. Um, let's do this. I'll take a look at this after the broadcast since I'm not familiar with it right now, and I'll put in my comments in the comment section on this on the page on our YouTube channel, so you can check back and see. Okay, everyone can hear me. Robert says, hello. If I'm acne prone, can I still use the new Ceramide Moisturizer? I would give it a try. Reason I am suggesting that is not only because I think the vitamin C can be wonderful for brightening and helping to fade the look of the post-breakout marks, especially the strength we're using in that product. I think you're going to get some benefit from the retinol, and I also think, surprise, you're going to get some benefit from the ceramides in the formula. There's some interesting research and theories about the fact that some people may deal with acne at a more frequent rate or get acne altogether because the ratio of the fatty acids in our skin that contribute to the biological makeup of our skin's oil, for some people, they're out of whack. One type predominates, and that can cause some sensitization in skin that sets the stage for acne. So the theory is when you give your skin back more of those ingredients where it can rebuild and redistribute, rebalance its fatty acid profile, that you will see fewer breakouts. It's just, from what I've seen, it's just theory. Does not mean that you abandon your tried and true acne fighting products. Ceramides are not taking the place of salicylic acid or benzoyl peroxide. But I think that especially if you're acne prone, but also your underlying skin type is more normal to slightly oily or normal to dry, I think you should give it a try and see what happens. Nikki says, I'm listening and watching you while at work. Hopefully I don't get caught. Me too. Or rather, is it recommended? Yeah, Robert, I think I covered that. Chime in if I did not. Daniel says, how often do you recommend using the 4% BHA serum for breakouts with sensitive skin? What's the most often? I love that product, and I try to work that into my routine once a week, maybe twice. Given the soothing ingredients that we paired with the 4% salicylic acid, which in and of itself has natural calming properties for skin, I think unless you have this type of sensitive skin that is so sensitive it sometimes reacts even to water, I think you can get away with using this advanced treatment at least 2 or 3 times per week, and then you can move up to more if need be. Another thing you can try is only apply it to your breakout prone areas versus your entire face and see if that makes a difference. Nikki, you're so funny. Wear sweatpants if you want to, we don't care. I don't even need to wear pants. You guys don't see me from the chest down, although I am wearing pants. My friend Kristen had a funny story about that. She was on a conference call and she works from home, and she literally, she had underwear on, but no pants, and she forgot that she was on video, and she got up at one point during the meeting to go grab a file out of her file cabinet. So she's got her blouse on and a little nice blazer over that. So from the waist up, she looks very professional. Hair's done, makeup's done. And then she's traipsing across her room, and lo and behold, she's in her underwear. So she and her coworkers had a good laugh about that. I will not do that to you, I promise. Okay, Christina says, yeah, same as Robert, acne prone versus using the new ceramide cream. Yeah, you guys, give it a try, especially if you're using a leave-on exfoliant underneath that. I think that would be great. And if for some reason the moisturizer doesn't work out for you, or if you just don't like the texture or whatever, you know, we have our 60-day return policy that I encourage you to use. Paula's Choice is a company that wants you to be happy with what you purchase from us, and we want you to see the results that we know are possible. But just because we know the results are possible, just because that's what the research says, doesn't mean it's automatically going to work for every single person in the exact same way. As much as I wish it was that easy to say just do A, B, C, or just use these products and you're done, it often isn't that easy. So we will work with you until we find something for you that works, and if we exhaust the options, we'll steer you in the direction of products that on Beautypedia that could be alternatives to what you've tried from us that didn't meet your needs. Sarah says, how often should I clean my makeup brushes to avoid breakouts? Is makeup inherently bad for skin? That is a really good question, Sarah. First of all, you should clean your makeup brushes to make sure that they continue to apply your products in the way that they're intended to do. And you want to get that buildup, the oil, the residue from products on our skin that gets transferred to our brushes. But what doesn't get transferred to our brushes, at least not to a great degree, is the bacteria that causes acne. That type of bacteria actually lives deeper in the pore. It's what's considered anaerobic bacteria. That means it does not thrive in an oxygenated environment. That is precisely why the over-the-counter anti-acne active benzoyl peroxide works to kill it, because it delivers that extra oxygen molecule to the acne-causing bacteria that's inside the pore lining, and it destroys the bacteria. And it does so in a very relatively, I should say, fast manner. Even if some of that bacteria that causes acne was lurking on the surface of your skin, it would be dead, because our skin's, our skin surface is exposed to oxygen in the environment that we live in. It's about 19-20% oxygen, if my grade school science memory is serving me. I know it's like 79% nitrogen, 19%, yeah. Anyway, the point is, oxygen is all around us. So you don't have to worry about cleaning your makeup brushes to prevent acne. You do have to worry about cleaning your makeup brushes to make sure that they continue to perform and apply your makeup as flawlessly as you want them to. And that's the whole reason you're using makeup brushes as opposed to your fingers or some other less elegant tool. I don't think makeup is inherently bad for skin. Makeup is designed to stay on top of skin. It's not designed to penetrate in the same way that certain leave-on skincare products are. The ingredients, the core ingredients in the vast majority of makeup products, mascara, eyeliner, eyebrow pencil, lipsticks, facial powder, blush, concealers, they've stood the test of time, and the majority of them have a good deal of safety research behind them, particularly any of the colorants or cosmetic ingredients, makeup ingredients that are used in eye and lip products, because both of those areas are inherently more sensitive, and both of those areas are a pathway into the body itself. So no, I don't think it's inherently bad. You can be using makeup that isn't necessarily the best for your skin type, and some foundations, for example, will cause some people to break out. I wish I could say, avoid this one, and this one, and you're good to go. But all of us know that even the foundations that say that they're non-comedogenic or non-acnegenic, we've all used products like that and still gotten breakouts. And so what's really going on there? MVeg Potato. Hi, Brian. How many active ingredients we can layer without it being too much for skin? I want to incorporate an exfoliant, niacinamide, retinol, vitamin C, and azelaic acid, but don't want to overdo it. Another good question. So skin can handle a lot. And all of the ingredients you mentioned can certainly be layered at the same time. I would advise doing that at night if you're like me and want fewer layers of products, even if they're thin layers, on your skin during the day. Again, this comes back to paying attention to how your skin responds, and if you are seeing any signs, any kickback in the wrong direction, you're seeing signs of sensitivity, redness, flaking, your skin may look dull. You just need to make sure that that isn't happening. And then I think you can use all of those products all at once. And if you can find products that combine them so you can save a step, that's better. In some cases, depending on the ingredient in the formula, that isn't always possible. I know we're asked about that sometimes here at Paula's Choice. People want to know why we can't just create one product like a serum, that has every great ingredient in there. And there's various reasons for that, not necessarily compatibility per se in terms of you can't use this ingredient and this ingredient at the same time. It's how well do they play together in the same formula? What pH do the ingredients work best at? What base do they work best in terms of delivery to the skin? All of that has to be taken into account. And then there's also concentration protocols, and one product can't possibly contain every ingredient for skin in much the same way one recipe for a meal, a casserole, whatever, could contain every conceivable nutritious ingredient for skin. Some nutrients do better when they're not warmed up. Some ingredients, like some nutrients such as those in tomatoes, actually become more bioavailable when they're heated. So I hope that gives you an idea of the variables involved in that process. But yeah, again, what I would love an all-inclusive anti-aging product that gave my skin exactly everything it needed in the right concentrations, in a vehicle that would work for my skin type, and on and on and on. And as soon as that type of technology is available, believe me, we'll look into it. Anthony says, I'd like to know your advice on tretinoin or Differin, both of which are prescription medications, prescription retinoids, typically prescribed for acne. He says, at what point do I apply it? Peeps always say you need to wait 30 minutes for your face to dry, blah, blah, blah. So the whole notion of waiting 30 minutes to apply your prescription retinoid harkens back to the days when those products first hit the market and dermatologists were advising their patients to wash their faces with soap. Typically a bar soap like Purpose soap. That's what I was told to do. And what happens is that because that a standard classic bar soap, even one that's specially made for the face, throws off your skin's pH. Your skin is naturally acidic. A classic soap is naturally going to be alkaline, which that's one of the reasons why after you wash your face with soap, it feels a little bit tight or dry, like it's almost a size too small. Part of that is because of how well soap cleans, but another part of it is because the alkaline nature disrupts what's known as skin's acid mantle. So it throws that out of whack, and it takes your skin some time to get back into balance. And guess how much time it typically takes? About 20 to 30 minutes. So that's where that tip came from. If you are using a gentle, water-soluble cleanser, gel, foam, cream to foam, cleansing oil, take your pick. As long as it's gentle, you don't need to wait. So then the next question, when does that product get applied in your routine? Assuming you're applying it at night, which is the typical direction from pharmacists, you would cleanse. If you use a toner, you would apply that. If you use another treatment type product like an essence or an exfoliant, that would go on. And then from that point in the routine, you'd want to look at the texture of the retinoid versus the texture, or compared to the texture of the other products you have yet to apply. So let's say those last two products you have yet to apply are a serum and a moisturizer. And let's say that the retinoid, let's say you're using a Differin gel or Retin-A micro, which has a lighter texture. If the retinoid's texture is lighter than the serum, then it goes on after your exfoliant. If it's heavier than your serum, then you would put it on after. Believe me, the active ingredient is still going to penetrate. There's nothing in modern skincare that puts such a barrier on your face that other ingredients just can't get through. That's a skincare myth. And then you would finish with your moisturizer. If your prescription retinoid product is of the creamy variety, and it's even creamier than the facial moisturizer you use, you actually may be able, if you're using a well-formulated serum and other treatment products that are giving your skin those antioxidants, restoring ingredients, replenishing ingredients, you could probably get away with having the tretinoin cream be your last step. And you could forego the moisturizer, maybe dab on some eye cream if you like using an eye cream, but that's how I would lay it out. Jacqueline says, a couple of weeks ago you recommended that I mix the BHA lotion with the oil booster for my dry acne prone skin. Thank you for the tip. I've been loving doing that. Yay! That's awesome. I've been mixing our oil booster with my body lotion at this time of year when it's colder, drier air, low humidity. I need moisture from the neck down. Normally I don't. And so I need more moisture than what my typical body lotion provides. So I've been doing a couple pumps of that and then adding in the Resist Moisture Renewal Oil Booster, about 5 or 6 drops per arm, and then about 7 to 8 drops for my legs, the lower legs, which get really dry. Not like eczema dry, but definitely dry, and it's been working great. Anthony says, your skin perfecting 2% BHA liquid has done wonders for my skin. Everyone should use it. If you look at how quickly we sell that product, Anthony, I think just about everyone is. It is our worldwide #1 best-selling product. It is Paula's Desert Island skincare product right behind sunscreen. So yes, I'm thrilled it's working for you. And we have several other BHA exfoliants that our customers can consider, different ingredient structures, different textures. I know some of you who have tried the BHA liquid. It definitely takes some getting used to in terms of how it feels on skin. So rather unique texture, but that very texture is part of the magic of what makes it work so well. So we're not changing it. Maria says, hi Brian, one of my professors is researching Liposomes, which is a delivery system, and I'm thinking of interning with her next. Do you think it's still an interesting field to study, or is it already outdated as a delivery method? You know, it depends. I'd want to do a bit of a deeper dive, Maria, into what specifically what this professor is looking at with liposomes. On the surface, it's definitely a dated technology. There are better ways to deliver ingredients to the skin, although liposomes are kind of like the progenitor to all of that. So I would just ask him or her for a bit more information and see what you can find out. And if that person is perhaps considering looking at alternatives to liposomes as well. One of the interesting things about liposomes, lipo meaning fat, so you've got like a fatty acid type bubble around an ingredient. They're used often, or various fatty acids are actually used to envelope various peptides, because a lot of the peptides, even the lab engineered ones, without that type of a delivery system, they pretty much don't reach the areas in skin where you want them to land. Because as I've mentioned before, our skin, the skin surface, its natural defense system is actually pretty good at keeping things out. And there are enzymes within skin surface that are basically little guards. And if they don't recognize what the peptide is that you're putting on, they're going to go after it, and it's going to be broken down and become ineffective before it can actually do what peptides are supposed to do for skin. So that's a good example of using something like a liposome, a fatty acid type delivery system that can skirt past those defensive enzymes and get the peptide to where it's supposed to go. Oh, Sarah says, thanks for the swimming tip 2 weeks ago. So helpful. Good, good, good. Siubanu, my apologies if I did not pronounce your name right. Hello, what's your best tip for uneven skin, razor bumps? I'm using retinol, BHA, vitamin C. For an uneven skin tone, obviously make sure you're using sunscreen every single day. Most cases of uneven skin tone begin with some amount of sun damage, even if you're seeing that at a younger age. What's today's uneven skin tone is going to turn into tomorrow's dark spot or melasma type patchiness, so don't want to go down that road because that type of situation is much harder to remedy. It looks like what you're doing, if you're using the right kinds of products, such as those from Paula's Choice, I think that's pretty much it. You might want to look at adding the niacinamide booster to your routine. I think that could help, and it's water light, so it's not going to make those razor bumps worse. Regarding razor bumps, make sure that you are changing your razor blade fairly often, like maybe every 3 or 4 shaves, particularly if you have a coarser beard or if your hair is naturally curly and your whiskers are as well. Just one of those things you got to adapt to when you have more of a thicker, coarse beard. Also make sure that you are using a good shaving cream or gel and applying enough of it, and that you're not, that as much as possible, you're not shaving against the grain or taking too many passes with the razor, because all of that can set the stage for razor bumps. Ideally, downward strokes on the face, and then when you get to the whiskers on the neck, you're going to want to do more upward strokes, but always use gentle pressure as well. And I think if you follow those tips, you'll start seeing an improvement. Add that niacinamide product to your routine. You can put that on at night or during the day right after shaving if you want to. You could use it twice a day. Leonie asks, do you know if Differin works for fine lines, or should I also add a retinol? Differin, as one of the newer classes of retinoids, is more well studied for acne, but due to its retinoid-like ability, it should have anti-aging, anti-wrinkle benefits too. So I would try it. If your doctor prescribed Differin in a gel base, I believe it's still made as prescription strength in a cream base, which I think would be the better choice to put around your eyes. But you could also do the gel around your eyes and then follow up with a really rich eye cream like our Resist Anti-Aging Eye Cream, which is almost like a little balm type eye mask that you dab on and you'll still feel it the next morning. I don't know about you guys, but I love that. Have I checked out Patrick Bateman's routine yet? Not in detail, but I did find out what you were all referring to for Patrick Bateman and that movie. So I think he wore cucumbers, and that Christian Bale, my gosh, was he fit in that movie. I certainly remember that part. Never really cared for him as much as Batman, but I do think he's a phenomenal actor. He definitely seems like an actor that really dives into his roles. He had that one role where he lost just a stupid amount of weight and just got down to a emaciated look. But that's dedication. Wow. Okay. Nikki is asking, would you recommend mixing the new Ceramide Moisturizer with Resist Omega Plus Serum for additional season hydration? Yes. I think that could be a brilliant combination, and it introduces those omega fatty acids and even more ceramides into your routine. SN12, too much niacinamide is giving me small red bumps. Really wish PC didn't use so much of it in almost all their products, just using the Essence Skin Brightening Treatment once a week Radiance Mask. Yeah, you're using, we don't use, I know it seems like we use niacinamide a lot, but we are somewhat selective. It's not in everything, but it is in all of the products you're using, and in higher amounts in some of them. I'm someone that can't double or triple up on niacinamide. For example, I can't use our 10% niacinamide booster on a regular basis. It's just too much niacinamide for me, but I can use the Skin Balancing Invisible Finish Moisture Gel, which has niacinamide in it, and I can use the Radiance Renewal Mask, which I will often put on over a lightweight moisturizer at night, just kind of like goop it on my skin because it's so super hydrating. And it's one of those masks where the texture is such that I get that really rich, lasting hydration that I need when the surface starts getting dehydrated, but I don't have to worry about it being too creamy for me, and so therefore it's going to clog my pores because I'm combination skin. Let's see. Murado says, hello from Sweden, Brian. I'm going to be in Sweden in May if everything goes well. I think we're doing a European Union tour, Paula and I, and we are doing a stop in Stockholm at Skin City. Love that shirt and chain. I have 2 questions. First one is, how much ceramides are in the new PC moisturizer? I don't have that information off the top of my head, but I mean, to answer simply, a lot. More than in any of our other products that contain ceramides. We made sure that the ratio of ceramides to the other ingredients was in a really nice balance to give you the best possible benefits. But right here in the moment, I don't have that concentration information. Okay. And then Sarah says, in reference to my above question, is there an age when acne stops for most people? I've had acne since I was 10 years old and I'm in my early 20s now. It depends, Sarah. I wish I could say, you know, once you get into your 30s, you're in the clear. Some women who have acne earlier in life, starting maybe around the time of their first cycle, as they get into the teen years or even before that, it'll continue into their 20s and then it levels off. And you'll go through your late 20s, 30s, and 40s with perfectly clear skin. And then when the change of life happens, you know what I'm talking about, the acne starts up all over again with that internal shift that's going on. And the way that acne is treated, I know a lot of people will say, oh, it's adult acne, or they'll say, oh, it's adult acne because it's caused by stress. So teens don't have stress. If anything, teens can have just as much stress as adults, but what they often lack is a means for dealing with or productively controlling that stress, whereas adults have kind of, through the passage of time and experience, learned how to manage the stress. A lot of teens are still learning that, and so yeah, that whole notion that it's adult acne if it's caused by stress, teen acne can just as easily be caused by stress. So yeah, Sarah, that's kind of a long-winded way to say I just don't know. I've never seen anything in the research other than both for men and women when you get past the age of 70. And if you live that long, consider yourself lucky. That's actually, I think, a good thing, especially if you've taken care of yourself. And then you get to that age where you just really stop giving a flying fig about what anybody else thinks, and you're really enjoying life. So, but yeah, I have seen research showing that acne past the age of 70 in both men and women is pretty much unheard of. And that stands to reason because internal factors have really leveled off by then. The skin isn't producing as much oil as it used to. And there's other physiologic changes that are happening that make the prevalence of acne, it's almost impossible for it to even form. And that's, you know, I guess something to look forward to. Not still going. Hello, you're back. Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm catching up. Okay. I'm going to take Donna's question, and then I'm going to skip around a bit because we have about 20 minutes left. Donna says, I've had very stubborn adult hormonal acne, jawline, chin, cysts. That actually, I'm glad that this came up right after I just said what I said, because where adults break out compared to where teens break out, there can be some differences there. And precisely the area where Donna is mentioning she has acne is where a lot of adults deal with it, whereas teens can certainly get acne in that area, but also anywhere else, maybe the chest, maybe the back as well. There's more oil glands in both places. So Donna says she's been using Retin-A again and started using BHA 4% from us and noticed a dramatic increase in effectiveness. Is this okay for one routine? Yeah, absolutely. I would also, with your dermatologist, okay, I think you can also add a benzoyl peroxide product to your routine, maybe separate from those two if you're worried about that being too much. So for example, maybe you're applying the BHA and the tretinoin, which is, okay, Retin-A combo at night, and then you can put on benzoyl peroxide after you cleanse in the morning. I think that would be helpful. If you are, Donna, if you're having some dryness, take a look at our Resist Omega Plus Complex. That serum has a really light lotion texture, and I think that might be a nice add-on product to your routine for some hydration and also for the calming and the balancing benefits that the omega-3 fatty acids bring to your skin. Okay, so I'm skipping down to the bottom because I know that I don't always get to those last questions that people contribute. Nis or Nice says, I've had breakouts from age 10 and I am now 43. Maybe 70, I'll finally be free. Woohoo! Oh, I hope so. I still break out every now and then. I'm 44 and you know, I don't think it's almost like a security blanket what I'm about to say because I don't know if I'll ever get to that age, maybe 70, where I just feel better knowing that I have anti-acne products in the house. Some people feel that way about chocolate chip cookies. Some people feel that way about coffee or red wine. I feel that way about benzoyl peroxide and salicylic acid. Because I have found that when I am, and this is not an endorsement for the brand, proactive about treating the acne before it gets really bad, then it just doesn't last as long. It often, you know, won't come to a big bad head. I won't be left with a post-acne mark, which those are just stubborn as all get out. Okay, Dort says, now that the Resist Azelaic Acid product may make its way to the US, are we in Europe getting a new product that will be exclusive to us? Oh, maybe. Something with azelaic acid that would be exclusive to you. That is not in the works. It's not to say that it couldn't be, but yeah, I think there's we created that product, the skin transforming treatment, for the European Union market because of some of the ingredient restrictions EU regulations have. For example, benzoyl peroxide you have to get from a pharmacy. You can't get it over the counter. Last I knew, you can't get it over the counter in Europe the way you can in the States and Canada and Australia. Nikki's saying, asking, can you talk more about Resist Advanced Pore Refining Treatment 4% BHA? I'm ordering a sample, but cannot decide whether it would be better to use daily in place of the 2% BHA liquid. Sure. Sandra loves her niacinamide. Yay. Paula's a big niacinamide fan. She can use that booster. She can't use our retinol booster. Different strokes for different folks. So Nikki, I mean, I look at the pore refining treatment, which is a product I love, as an adjunct to my daily exfoliant, which in my case is the Calm Redness Relief 1% BHA lotion exfoliant. So that is my my go-to for general exfoliating maintenance. And then about once or twice a week, I'll put on the advanced pore refining treatment, and I'll use that as my only exfoliant for that night. Some people like to layer. That's fine. You got to experiment to see what works for you. My skin tends to do well with one exfoliant applied at a time. It's just something I've learned over the years. So if you are enjoying the results from the 2% BHA liquid, I don't think it's necessary to swap that out for the 4% that you would then apply every night. I do think that you should give this product a try, both on its own, use it on a night that you would normally apply the 2% BHA liquid. You know, whether it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you put on the 4%. The rest of the nights of a week, you're doing your usual 2%. And you could also try layering it, particularly over the areas where you have stubborn bumps or clogged pores. So that would be my advice. See what you think. Jacqueline, tried putting my skincare products on my husband, but he doesn't like how it feels. What are the most basic products that he should own that have a very lightweight feeling on the skin? And that's a big deal for a lot of guys. A lot of men shy away from skincare even today, not because they look at it as being too feminine, and why men were ever threatened by that in the first place is a whole other discussion. I don't think there's anything about being feminine or the feminine mystique that is at all weak or inferior. I think that's just BS. But don't get me started. Anyway, a lot of guys don't like the feeling of products, and so they shy away from skincare because everything feels too thick or occlusive or heavy. So the core basics, we kept that whole mentality in mind when we were looking at putting together our PC for Men collection. So the face wash is a gentle gel. It won't leave the skin dry and tight. It rinses very cleanly. There's no residue left behind. The skin will just feel clean and fresh. Cleanser is fundamental. I promise he'll comment on getting a better, closer shave if he shaves cleansed skin. Guys, unless they are growing a beard, even then they're still going to need to do some trimming and maintenance. But shaving is a part of a man's daily routine, so you're going to want to use a gentle shaving cream or gel. We have a shave cream in the PC for Men line. We don't offer other formats, but if he prefers like a foamy gel, I would look to the fragrance-free options from Aveeno and from Everyman Jack. Those are two that just off the top of my head. I'm trying to think if there's another lip and body treatment balm. Don't leave home without it. Trying to think if there's another fragrance-free shaving gel. I'm sure there are. Alba Botanica might make one if you want something that's a little bit creamier. But I'm mentioning the whole fragrance-free thing because so many shaving creams and gels for guys are just way fragrant and very strong sensitizer for men's skin. After the shaving, I think the one product he would need that I recommend to everybody is a good broad-spectrum sunscreen that can provide some light hydration. And there are some lighter products out there, more so than ever before. I think that the Aramis Lab series has some good ones. You could check out the Jack Black line. PC for Men, of course, we have a sunscreen in that collection. It's called Protect. It's got SPF 30. It's a very sort of fluid formula with a nice, smooth, non-greasy finish. So those would be my core products. If he wants to put something on at night, particularly something that is more treatment-oriented, or something that can help with signs of aging, uneven skin tone, as well as various bumps, I think our PC for Men Soothe and Smooth, which is a liquid that he can put on with fingers or a cotton pad, just literally splash on and kind of rub in. Super, super light as water, penetrates easily. He won't wake up with a residue. I think that would be the add-on product where you're like, okay, he's doing this much. Let's see if I can get him to do that too. Tiffany asks, could you talk about benzoyl peroxide, different ingredients, interactions, or precautions, and if it's better than salicylic acid? So, yes, I can. Benzoyl peroxide is one of the oldest and most well-researched anti-acne topical ingredients. It's available over the counter in the States at various concentrations, up to 10%. I think most people with acne will do best with a 2.5 to 5% concentration. There's research showing that once you get much past 5% concentration in a leave-on product, that the scale gets tipped in favor of side effects like dry, flaky skin that nobody wants. And yet, it really isn't that much more effective. It's not like going from an SPF 10 to an SPF 50. There's marginal differences, but it does end up being more sensitizing when you get up to 10%. So comparing benzoyl peroxide and salicylic acid, they work in very different ways. Benzoyl peroxide works by killing or disabling the bacteria that plays a role in acne. It doesn't have any what's called keratolytic or exfoliating action on the skin. That's where salicylic acid comes in. And that difference in terms of what benzoyl peroxide doesn't do, that salicylic acid does do, is why, for example, benzoyl peroxide does not work on blackheads. Sorry about my dogs. Oh, UPS. Yeah. Probably delivering Paula's Choice products. They are complementary. You would put on the salicylic acid product first, followed by the benzoyl peroxide product. In terms of interactions with benzoyl peroxide, years ago, the earlier formulations of prescription retinoids, you weren't supposed to apply at the same time because benzoyl peroxide could render the active ingredient ineffective. With the newer formulations of prescription retinoids, that's much less of a concern if it's even brought up at all. If you are worried about that interaction but want to apply a retinoid and benzoyl peroxide at the same time, look to Differin. Differin it's been known since the late 1990s that Differin, the active ingredient being adapalene, that is not deactivated by benzoyl peroxide. Otherwise, the only caution would be if you are using, if your skincare routine includes an antioxidant-rich product, like one of our antioxidant serums, and you're using benzoyl peroxide as well, I would wait 2 or 3 minutes maybe for the benzoyl peroxide to get in there and do its thing before applying the antioxidants, because the antioxidants are going to weaken. Benzoyl peroxide, as I mentioned earlier in the show, it's an oxidizing ingredient. That's how it works against the acne. And antioxidants work by thwarting or intercepting those damaging molecules that release what's called reactive oxygen species, among other things, a term for free radicals. So that would be really it, though. Everything else, you can layer benzoyl peroxide and salicylic acid with retinol. If you want to, you can use niacinamide, you can use vitamin C. There isn't any precaution there, other than, as always, paying attention to how your skin responds. Stavros K says, does inclusion of silicones make it harder for next steps to absorb in the skin? Thank you so much for your live chats. No, I have a sense of where this information is coming from. I don't think it's correct. I think that there's a misunderstanding that silicones like dimethicones, cyclopentasiloxane, various silicone polymers like dimethicone, vinyl dimethicone cross polymer, phenyl trimethicone, that they form an impenetrable barrier on the skin, and they don't do that. One of the reasons that silicones as a class of ingredients replaced some of the emollients like mineral oil and petrolatum is because those two ingredients are more occlusive and feel more heavy on skin. They don't suffocate skin. Skin doesn't breathe. It doesn't have a respiratory system. Silicones actually have they form a permeable barrier on skin. Now, depending on the formula and the amount of and the type of silicones in there, I suppose you could argue that silicones could slow the penetration of certain ingredients, particularly those that are more water soluble, because silicones are water insoluble. But if the products are well formulated and they contain the right emulsifiers and other penetration enhancing ingredients, it isn't something that you need to worry about. I freely use products that contain silicones. I'm not specifically looking for them, but several of the products in my routine contain them, and I know that they're not impacting the effectiveness of the other products that I use because, for example, specific to my routine, I use the Resist Advanced Replenishing Toner twice a day without fail. Love that product. That has 1 or 2 at least silicones in there. And I leave that on my skin. I'm not rinsing it off. And then I immediately follow with a leave-on exfoliant. Now, if the silicones in the toner were stopping those ingredients from getting to my skin, I wouldn't be seeing benefit from the exfoliant. And if the silicones were stopping the retinol, and like the retinol booster that I apply later on in my routine, that's in a water base. I mean, I don't get it. And I haven't seen any scientific research showing that that is the case. There also isn't any scientific research showing that silicones cause or trigger acne or clogged pores. I know that happens for some people. It's an individual response. And if you have determined that silicones are a problem for your skin for whatever reason, even if you just have a philosophical reason that you just don't want to use silicones, then great. There are a lot of alternatives to silicones and within our line and with several other lines. So it's totally fine to experiment. That's a great example of why there are so many different types of products and formulas out there. Valeria, Valeria, interesting spelling, and I'm sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But your question, why do so many people have white skin above the upper lip and big red circles around their nose? Is there any specific reason for it? And if yes, what skincare ingredients can address that? The white skin above the upper lip. Like whiter, like you're seeing a stripe, I guess, or there's like a line of demarcation. Not familiar with that, other than for some people, that this is just me kind of thinking this through, because our lips technically aren't skin. They're a mucous membrane, but they're covered with a very, very thin layer of skin. And the area around the lip, between the lip and the surrounding skin, is called the vermilion border. What I'm thinking is occurring that is causing that is because unless you have a darker skin tone, and even then it can be a little, this isn't necessarily definitive, lips don't contain skin pigment, which is known as melanin. So what I'm wondering is if in the people that have that white line above the upper lip, and obviously I think we're talking about people who have lighter skin tones, like me, if, because that's right next to the lip, if that's almost like a little extension of the lip, but then the vermilion border starts below it, and so that little strip of skin doesn't have much, if any, pigment. Therefore, it's always going to look lighter than the surrounding skin. It won't tan, just won't turn color. It probably won't respond, well, it probably would respond to self-tanner, but differently than the surrounding skin. So that's my theory there. I'm again, at best, that's an educated guess. The big red circles around the nose, that could be for any number of reasons. Either where you're touching your face in that area too often. A lot of us aren't aware of just how many times, in a given hour we touch our face. I'm sure I do it much more than I'm aware. I can just watch this video back and count. Allergies, the skin in this area here, right where the cheek meets the corner of the nose, for a lot of people, that is just a more delicate, sensitive area, and it can be more prone to redness. It's actually, when I see somebody in public that has a very nicely made up face, I'll sometimes notice that they missed the area around their nose with their concealer or foundation. Either that or they've blown their nose, rubbed the nose, and that the makeup they applied gets rubbed off. So I think really that's low grade or chronic sensitization, and the more calming ingredient you can apply to that area, particularly at night, the better. And even what you can try, if this is a concern of yours, particularly if it's allergy season or cold and flu season, is to apply a very thin layer after you wash your face and whatnot of hydrocortisone cream to that area, and then apply an emollient balm type product. This is right before bed stuff. CeraVe's healing ointment, I think, is a great product to look at. It is sort of like Aquaphor on steroids in a sense, but those steroids are ceramides, which are not drugs. So don't worry about that. And also don't worry, we're talking short-term use of the hydrocortisone. I know a lot of people are concerned about using hydrocortisone too often because it will thin the skin. Number one, how concerned should you really be about skin thinning right here versus here or on the cheeks? Not very. And we're talking like long-term use, like months and months and months, as opposed to what I'm suggesting, which is to use the hydrocortisone until that redness is more under control, and see if that helps. Ooh, 3 o'clock. All right. I'm going to do 2 more questions, and I'll sign off. This has been great. Thank you so much for all the questions. Marlo, I love that name. That was going to be the name of our kid if the baby was a girl. We actually, little fun fact about me, we didn't know the gender before the baby was born. So we just knew that we agreed on more boy names than we did girl names, but Marlo was one of the girl names that both my husband and I were like, yep, that could work. Marlo says the new Ceramide Firming Moisturizer is absolutely fantastic. Clinical is now tied with Resist is my favorite collection. Cool. Clinical is going to keep growing. I think you'll see more products in that as we're trying to specialize a bit more and making sure that you have products that will really meet all of your needs as you grow older with us. Okay. Sharnay Smith says, hi, Brian. How do I know if my vitamin C booster oxidized? Mine is currently light yellow. Can I continue using it or did it oxidize? I use mine every morning and the bottle is half full. So, the light yellow coloration is a sign that that oxidation has started to happen. However, don't throw it out, don't panic, don't yell at us. We have done stability testing long term, and even with that color change, which in the lab they refer to as straw color, so it goes from clear, which is how it starts, to straw. The vitamin C, the activity and the strength of it remains. So it doesn't look quite the same, and that is an early sign that that process is starting to happen, but it is still effective. Where you have to be concerned is when it starts going from that straw color to more of a gold color, and then from there it kind of segues into what I call like a copper or a rust color. When and if it gets to that point, and I use the C15 routinely. I go through bottles of it. I've never seen this happen with my bottle, and I don't think we've gotten. I can double check with our client services team, but I don't think we've gotten complaints about this from customers, at least not to a great degree. When it gets to that point, you're done. And if there's a little bit or some still left in the bottle, I wish, I use it up faster. Or this is another option. Switch to our 25% vitamin C product, which is a non-aqueous cream type formula. It's a silicone base, and that tends to last quite a bit longer than the liquid because of some just the nature of that formula. And that is true for any vitamin C formula of that ilk. So I don't want you to misunderstand and think that there was something that we didn't do or didn't do well enough. This is a very tightly formulated product, but it does need to be used up. We generally advise within 3 months of opening. Okay, last question. Oh, okay, Pal. The Resist Super Light Daily Defense SPF 30. Give that one a go. Okay, this really is the last question. How can I tell if skin dullness is a result of too little product, i.e. more product could make it better, or too much, i.e. I'm using too much product and sensitizing skin? How can you tell? And skin is dull. Dullness. So here's the thing. If you're using too many products that are too bioactive for your skin and you're noticing you're getting some dullness, maybe along with some flakiness, it could be that those products are dehydrating, they're drying out the uppermost layers of your skin, and you can remedy that problem by either using the bioactive products less frequently, stop throwing everything at your skin all at once, try alternating the products. It's totally fine to do that. You can have your wardrobe of treatment products, and so you're not using everything all at the same time. Or you can switch to a richer moisturizer, something that's more hydrating and replenishing to get that balance back. In terms of doing too little, the only thing that's coming to mind is that maybe you're using an exfoliant that isn't enough for your skin. Maybe you have more built up layers of dead skin or more sun damage than you thought, and you need to use something that's a little bit more potent to really get over that hurdle of dullness. So give those tactics a try and let me know how it works. I love it when you guys come back and tell me how my information, how my advice is working for you, and feel free to do it even if it didn't work, you know, and we'll try something else. There's more than one. There's more than one solution. So, as always, sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Thank you for taking the time to participate. I love your questions. They just they keep me on my toes, and they make me want to keep researching and doing what we do at Paula's Choice to help you have great skin and really to get that message out about truth and beauty. Because once you know the truth, you'll be able to make beautiful decisions about how to take the best care of your skin. And that's what it's all about, at least if you're watching this. So thank you for watching.